Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Ahmed and this is Egyptian Reacts and Reviews. Today I'll be starting a new show, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I've been waiting for it for a very long time. I have reacted to the trailer on this channel a couple of months ago. I have read the books. I have for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I have watched the movies of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I still wouldn't call myself like a deep diver into all the lore, and I've done all this like a while back, so I may not remember every single detail. I know the Lord of the Rings scene is a very hard and tough scene, but I am very excited to watch this show. I am very interested to see how they dive into the beginnings of the Lord of the Rings and Sauron and how the ring started and how all the other rings were affected their bearers. So this is very exciting, but I'm still not going to nitpick on every single detail, and I'm just going to enjoy the show. If this is your first time in my channel, please subscribe and like the video and leave a comment if you would like to. And without further ado, let's get into the first episode.
But even then, there was light.
Wow, is this the origin, like when Galadriel was a child?
It's not going to float. It's going to sail.
Wow, nice. Wow, elf bullies. That's new.
Stop! Stop! You're breaking it! Stop!
Wow, I didn't. Who would have known that elves have bullies?
Lose your footing again, Galadriel.
But sometimes the lights shine just as brightly reflected in the water as they do in the sky. It's hard to say which way is up and which way is down.
And of course, we don't get to hear it.
I won't always be here to speak them to you.
You won't?
Does she lose her brother early on?
The great foe Morgoth destroyed the very light of our home. And a legion of elves went to war.
Nice.
We left Valinor, our home, and journeyed to a distant realm. One filled with
Middle Earth?
a place known as Middle Earth.
No, the Eagles! The Eagles that could have solved everything from day one, and yet they never did.
And would last centuries.
So that centuries later she came to find her brother?
Now, we learned many words for death. Multiplying ever greater under the command of his most devoted servant.
Sauron?
A cruel
Sauron?
and cunning sorcerer. They called him Sauron.
Wow, so Sauron wasn't even the big bad. He was just the second in command.
His vow became mine. began to believe that Sauron was but a memory. I wish I could be one of them.
Wow, elven climbing gear. Nice.
This company has followed you to the very edge of the world, but none who ever dared search for this last stronghold has ever found anything.
There's nothing out here. We should have been there by now.
Oh, there it is.
We are there.
It still looks abandoned.
It's colder than the rest.
Of course. There's gonna be some orcs or trolls or goblins.
These orcs were meddling with the powers of the unseen world. Some dark sorcery of old. Even stone cannot hide the mark of one whose very hand is flame unquenched. Sauron was here. Tell the others to rest while they can. At sunrise we move on.
Surely we must first return home to take counsel with the High King.
Wow. Galadriel is very determined. Troll, I knew it. Come on, Galadriel, show us what you can do. Nice. Okay, so at this point, Galadriel is just a warrior, if like a really good warrior, but she's not in magic yet. Like, she doesn't know any magic, or at least she is just a basic level elf in magic, and not like the strongest magic that we know later in Lord of the Rings.
More likely a half-foot.
Half-foot?
Don't care to be seen none, but if you do, watch yourself.
It is a Harfoot. Well, a lot of Harfoots. Oh, they were hiding from those two? Keeping them, or like their village secret? They do look like hobbits. They have the same like feet, hairy feet, and like big. So, are Harfoots is like is an early name of hobbits, or do they later be like change into hobbits?
Easy, Malva.
The last time we had travellers this early, it was the Great Frost. And there's no misremembering how bleak a season that was.
More likely they just got lost. That's it. Has to be the reason.
I've looked low and high and low again. But the winds are still out there.
They'll be fine, Goldie. Nori's with them. You know Nori.
Yes, I do.
111 if we kill you worrying to death. You know the rules. We're not supposed to be out this
Wow.
way. If we didn't do everything we
For a second there, she looked exactly like Elijah Wood. Yeah, so far they're giving me the vibes of the hobbits. They like nature, they like to remain like away from everyone, and they like food.
It looks like a footsie. A dog.
A bear. Oh, is it a warg? Okay, maybe not a warg, but that's a weird looking wolf.
Crag and crevice washing away the last remnants of our enemy. Like a spring
Oh, there he
rain over
is.
the bones of
Young Ned Stark. Is he the only actor to be in both Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones?
Harold Elrond.
And he is Elrond. Okay, so I thought so when I saw the trailer, and he is Elrond.
Galadriel.
Elrond.
If after the ceremony, that is still your wish, you shall have it.
What kind of ceremony is it?
I can't help but feel there's wonders in this world, beyond our wandering.
Yeah, so she's our Bilbo Baggins?
And now at last, they return to us in triumph.
That's not what Galadriel thinks.
That our days of war are over.
No, they're not. Galadriel is gonna ruin it now, right now.
At last, they are going home.
This is the gift of your king.
A gift I have decided to refuse.
Wow. That's a very elegant way or fancy way of saying, I don't want it. It reminds us of anyone? Huh, Ned Stark?
It is over. The evil is gone.
Then why is it not gone from in here? You say I have won victory over all the horrors of Middle-earth. Yet you would leave them alive in me. To take with me. Undying. Unchanging, unbreaking. Into the land of winterless spring.
This is very good speech right there she just said.
Go, and I promise you, if but a whisper of a rumor of the threat you perceive proves true, I will not rest until it is put right.
Is she going to leave and then come back, or... Because we know she's in Middle-earth in the future. The lands of men. Okay. So, at this time, still, like, every group was very suspicious of all the others.
It's a bloody patch of grass. The lot you lump us in with died off 1,000 years ago.
The fire.
Give me a hand. And I hope you find Alfrin flowers beautiful.
It's difficult enough keeping watch over them without having to keep one eye squarely on you. Or do you think me blind? No.
Wait, so they're kind of like... The elves are basically forcing their sovereignty over men?
Between elves and humans even been attempted, and on each occasion, it ended in...
Okay, so they don't trust each other. But of course the elves are much stronger.
All the fire outposts are being disbanded.
Okay, so they're just an outpost, but they still have like a presence that men really cannot fight against.
But you need never see them again.
But he's interested in a very specific one, so is he going to stay?
Mice were dancing a proper jig under the floorboards.
Wait,
again?
Do they have a son already? I thought he's like likes her, but is he already in secret they had a son together?
Heard you were leaving.
Yeah,
Say what you wish to say.
I have said it already. 100 times over, in every way but words. How far east?
She might have made it as far as Horden.
Is this some sort of like a magic, evil magic, black magic?
Where are you going?
Horden's a day's journey. If I leave now, I can reach it by dusk.
I'm going with you.
Why?
Maybe that's why your father run off like he done.
My father didn't run off.
Then what happened to him?
His father is the elf, and that's why he has long hair to cover his elf ears. A mace. Of course. Okay, so she did leave.
We foresaw that if it had, she might have inadvertently kept alive the very evil she sought to defeat.
You believe it does exist?
Set your mind at peace about it. What you did was right.
Oh, so they do believe her, they just think she's probably gonna cause more harm than benefit.
Are you acquainted with the work of Lord Celebrimbor?
I've admired his artistry since I was a child. Why do you ask?
And we've decided that you will be working with him.
Someone he admires and suddenly finds that he's gonna work with him?
Why?
The people of Horden were known for having been especially strong in their loyalty to Morgoth.
What did you just say?
Let me guess, the village is burning? Or, yeah, of course.
Horden.
They just stayed standing in attention for the entire journey. Like, you know, releasing them of their burdens and weapons, but Galadriel, of course. Cool.
Do you know why a ship floats and a stone cannot?
Oh, are we gonna hear the secret he told her? Oh, the ends!
Sometimes we cannot know until we have touched the darkness.
That's it? Okay. Is she gonna go all the way back swimming? Yep. Apparently that's what she's gonna do. Is that a person? Okay. And that was episode number 1 of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. It was good. I loved the scenery, the elves. They captured the magic of their realm, the magic of their structures, their presence, and the way they fight. So that was all great. The elves are definitely the what we focused on the most in this episode, and we met Galadriel, young Galadriel, and young Elrond. We've seen Galadriel has been struggling with her brother's death and thinks that they should pursue the remains of Sauron's armies until they are 100% sure that they are completely gone. She also believes that Sauron himself is still alive, which of course, we all know is true, and that basically everyone else is dismissing her. And then the High King gave her a ceremony to honor her and her troops, and told them they will be sent back to across the seas to where the elves came from. But then we found out that they actually believe that that she might be right, and the problem is they foresaw that her quest, her personal quest to try to figure out where Sauron is, might actually do more harm and do more damage. So they gave her what they thought was the best outcome for everyone, is that they just send her away where she can live peacefully for eternity. We also met Elrond, who was apparently, he cares for her for so much. He went with it, although she's his friend. He went with the king's plan because he thought this is a way for her to, be at peace, and he will continue if anything happens. He promised her, I will keep going and I will seek this out to make sure that this harm never comes again. The third, we met the High King, but to me, the third most prominent elf we met was his name Arodin. He was a soldier in an outpost, and apparently he was in love with one of the humans there, and 99% I'm sure that the kid is theirs. That long hair has to be covering his elf ears. But that kid also was going through a barn, and he found a weapon that was definitely belonged to Morgoth, or the troops of Morgoth, because it had his symbol on it, and it spoke to him in black speech. So it's sort of like the ring in some way, that it has its own will and influence onto others. So I'm guessing this is sort of like one of the magical weapons that they carried at the time. And then him and this woman, Bronwyn, they went to her old village, and they found that it is completely burned and destroyed, which gives us a vibe that evil actually started coming back, because we saw the asteroid, we saw the leaves being poisoned, so something is happening. And then we also met the Harfoots. The Harfoots remind me in every way of the Hobbits. They, as I mentioned in the reaction, they live in nature, they love food, they have the hairy feet thing, and so they're either the ancestors of the Hobbits, or then just change their name later to call themselves the Hobbits, or someone else gives them that name. We'll see. But we met Nori, which I feel is the other prominent character. Nori gives me Bilbo Baggins vibes. The person who lives in peace and quiet, but inside them, they seek adventure. To me, Bilbo was that person. Frodo was not. Frodo was sort of like pushed into it against his will, but he always wanted to be done with it and go home. But Bilbo, no. Bilbo chose, and he went out to seek adventure when he met the dwarves, and we know all the part about the Hobbit, the story about the Hobbit. So Nori reminds me of Bilbo Baggins, and I feel like she is going to be seeking adventure at some point. And it starts with this asteroid that fell close to the Harfoots, and then we find out there's a man in it. Who is that man? I have no idea. We'll find out later in the next episode. So far, I enjoyed this episode. I loved it. It was a great introduction. I don't feel they did anything that could be seen as different or like, you know, other from the movies and the books. So we'll see. Thank you for seeing this video with me. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Click the like and leave a comment if you would like. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.